And welcome to Studio 5. Happy New Year to you. We've got quite a few things to get to in this very first episode of 2020. And we want to begin with the film 1917. It takes us back to World War I. Two British soldiers are given an assignment that would seem impossible. Cross enemy lines, deliver a message that could stop a deadly attack and possibly save the life of one of those soldiers' brothers.
There's something big at the general's head.
You have a brother in the 2nd Battalion.
Yes, sir.
They're walking into a trap. Your orders are to deliver a message calling off tomorrow morning's attack.
Fundamentally, it's a very simple story. Two men have about 8 hours to get from one part of the Western Front to another.
We've got to cross into enemy territory on a race against time to deliver a message that will save 1,600 lives.
Let's talk about this for a minute.
Why? If we're not clever about this, no one will get to your brother.
I will.
Blake is the heart of the film. It's Blake's love for his brother which accelerates the story and gets them moving.
In many ways, the movie is about that friendship and what happens to it. They help each other, but in ways they don't really fully comprehend.
If you don't get there in time, it will be a massacre. Good luck.
From the very beginning, I felt this movie should be told in real time. Every step of the journey, breathing every breath with these men, felt integral. And there is no better way to tell this story than with one continuous shot.
From the first moment I talked to Sam about the idea of it as a one-shot movie, I knew it was going to be really immersive.
Stay low.
It's meant to make you feel that you are in the trenches with those two young men.
And the camera never ever comes away from the two characters.
Sometimes you have a camera being carried by an operator, hooked onto a wire, and the wire carries it across more land, and it's unhooked again. That operator runs with it, then steps onto a small jeep, which carries him another 400 yards, and he steps off it again and goes around the corner. There's always that sort of get-out-of-jail card that you have with the movie. Well, you know, we might be able to cut around this, or we might take that scene out. That's not possible on this film. The dance of the camera and the mechanics all have to be in sync with what the actor's doing.
It's like a piece of theatre every take. Once it starts, it can't stop. If something goes wrong, you just have to keep going.
And there were so many scenes that I just completely got lost in.
Sorry! Royal Commission. Let me through. Orders from the general.
Sometimes the scene was 6 minutes long, and when they'd call cut, I would completely forget who I was, and I was Blake.
If you told it in a conventional way, I don't think you would have felt the energy. You're always moving forward. You never go back.
You have to construct a journey for the camera that's every bit as interesting as the journey of the actor. What I wanted was one ribbon, like a snake, moving forward, in which the information that you needed happened to fall in front of where the camera was pointing. The fact that we're moving always forward, it does have a compound effect, the gradual growing menace, and that constant sense of threat of what isn't seen, of what might be around the corner, is baked into the DNA of this movie.
There is only one way this will end.
Last man standing.
It's really important that we don't forget the people who fought in the First World War. There's a duty to remember them and remember what they did.
The things that these soldiers go through are horrendous. It's intimate in a way that I don't think any other war movie I've seen is.
Until you actually see it on a screen, you don't really realize how immersive it is and how that technique kind of draws you into it.
For me, engagement is very important, and that is behind the way in which we've decided to shoot this film. At the end of the day, you just hope you made something special that people feel personally about. When you achieve that, it's really beautiful and exhilarating.
And 1917 is in American theaters beginning January 10th. Still to come.
We have to have a song for Victoria. It's an incredibly important central part of the whole film.
A closer look at the new and original song in the big screen adaptation of Andrew Lloyd Webber's Cats.
Follow me home if you dare to.
Come home to the sounds of Southern Gospel from CBN Radio. You'll enjoy a rich Southern blend of bluegrass, classic gospel, and Southern gospel favorites like the Gaithers, the Crab Family, and bluegrass sounds like Mountain Faith. So make yourself at home with the all-new CBN Southern Gospel. Now available at cbnradio.com.
Meet the pastors who are preaching the gospel in a fresh, fearless way. I'm Roberto Torres-Cedillo. Join me each week for Next Gen Voices. And watch God transform a generation.
Prophecy thousands of years old.
We were called to be a light to the world.
Being fulfilled today. Discover how. Get to life. Call 1-800-700-7000.
We consider it our duty to reach out and help others around the world.
For a gift of $10 or more, you can own the acclaimed CBN documentary To Life. Just call 1-800-700-7000 or log on to cbn.com.
To treat a human, no matter what he is, which religious he have, which color he is. This is what I'm doing.
See how the people of Israel are fulfilling prophecy.
History is being written, and I want to be a part of it.
By sharing their knowledge.
In Africa, in Asia, in South America, in East Europe.
And their love.
This is how we work. This is us.
Get to life. Call 1-800-700-7000 or log on to cbn.com.
Welcome back to the very first episode of Studio 5 for the year 2020. Academy Award-winning film director Tom Hooper transforms Andrew Lloyd Webber's Cats into a cinematic experience. Now, for those familiar with the musical Cats, you'll of course be familiar with the music, but there is one new and original song. Here's the story behind Beautiful Ghosts.
Beautiful Ghosts is it's a song that Victoria sings to Grisabella. I think it starts prompted by seeing a private moment of Grisabella sort of upset and hurt by the other cats and the way they treated her. And I think it's Victoria's way, again, of trying to connect with her and pull her out of her pain and misery. And there's a lovely turn in the song where actually Victoria finds strength in what she's kind of singing to Grisabella, makes her realise it for herself as well. And she sees the light and the hope and the beauty of what she's just found with all these new cats and the friendship she could have. So she's trying to entice Grisabella back to happier days.
When I first read the screenplay, and the film is seen through Victoria's eyes, first thing I said was, we have to have a song for Victoria. It's an incredibly important central part of the whole film.
Frankie Hayward plays Victoria. I mean, extraordinary talent.
There was an ambition and an aspiration to have an original song in the movie. Just very much this understanding of like, let's write the best song we can.
To witness Taylor's ability to actually write a song, like lyrics and the melody, and to be in the same room as Andrew Lloyd Webber, working with him, being coached by him, watching him on the piano, everything, it's just been extraordinary.
Follow me home if you dare to.
What I couldn't believe was the extraordinary beauty of these lyrics that Taylor had written, and it was as if someone had come into the film I was in the middle of making and, read the script and met the actors and seen the world and reflected back to me a profound understanding of what we're trying to do with the movie. So it was utterly thrilling.
Andrew was saying, you know, it's this song we want Victoria to sing. But I sing the studio recording of the song too.
Perilous night, their voices calling, a flicker of light before the dawning.
And so when you started playing the music, it was just this beautiful, haunting melody. T.S. Eliot is such a specific type of writer and uses such specific language and imagery. And so reading through, like, his work and everything, I just really wanted to reflect that within. You can't write a modern lyric for Cats. So, like, if you can't get T.S. Eliot, like, get T.S. I'm here for you.
But at least you have beautiful ghosts.
And you can catch Cats playing in an American theater right now. Before we take a quick break, we do want to bring you the first Studio 5 snapshot of the year. It is a heartbreaking one.
Be assured that the testing of your faith through experience produces endurance, leading to spiritual maturity and inner peace.
That's the voice of Lois Evans, a minister, a mother, and the wife of Pastor Tony Evans. She died Monday with her husband and her 4 children by her side. Tony Evans shared the news on social media, writing, "She transitioned from earth and watched her first sunrise from heaven. I had the privilege of holding her hand as she lulled into eternity." Their children include recording artist Anthony Evans and Bible teacher and actress Priscilla Shirer. Our prayers are with the family, and we honor the life and legacy of Lois Evans with this week's Studio 5 Snapshot. A little later in the show, Kanye's Sunday service marks a milestone and drops a new album just in time for Christmas.
Too often, we carry baggage from our past. You know what it's like. It affects everything and everyone in our lives. It's always there, weighing us down and keeping us from achieving true happiness. But do you know God never meant for us to be trapped in the past? You can be free of your baggage. Learn how God's forgiveness leads to changed lives and new beginnings. Call the 700 Club.
I'm Ephraim Graham, and this is Studio 5. Cruise with me as I discover the good things happening in the world of music, sports, television, and movies.
The fact that Ryan Coogler was going to be directing the film, I knew that something special was going to happen.
We'll chat with artists at the forefront of entertainment and explore the connection between popular culture and faith.
I asked my pastor, I said, well, does that mean I'm supposed to be a preacher? He says, well, no, you already have a pulpit.
Watch Studio 5 Wednesday night at 9:30.
Tikkun Olam.
This is our nature as a country.
To make the world a better place.
Literally, we felt the earth shaking.
The Christian Broadcasting Network presents To Life, how Israeli volunteers are changing the world.
This film needs to be seen by everyone. I was in tears.
Now you can own the inspiring documentary To Life on DVD.
There is blood on our hands if we know and we walk away.
I'm so grateful that this film was made.
To Life can be yours for a gift of $10 or more. Call 1-800-700-7000 or log on to CBN.com.
We know that every minute counts to save life.
It'll bless Israel, but it'll also bless all the friends of Israel.
Discover the untold story of how Israeli volunteers are making the world a better place. Call 1-800-700-7000 or log on to CBN.com to get your copy today.
As the world watches from the outside,
it's a big diplomatic tug-of-war here in the Middle East.
Go inside the story with Jerusalem Dateline.
Israeli archaeologists are talking about a discovery that could change the thinking about the Temple Mount.
Join CBN Jerusalem Bureau Chief Chris Mitchell and get the biblical perspective on the events shaping the world.
What starts in Israel then ends up going to other places.
Watch Jerusalem Dateline, Friday night at 9:30 on the CBN News Channel.
And you are back in Studio 5. Actors Jamie Foxx and Michael B. Jordan are receiving critical acclaim for their performances in the film Just Mercy. It's based on the life of human rights attorney Bryan Stevenson. We had the opportunity to sit down with Stevenson and Jamie Foxx, as well as Michael B. Jordan. Take a drive through downtown Montgomery. It's Alabama's state capital, the county seat of Montgomery County, the heart of the African American civil rights movement, and home to the Equal Justice Initiative, the nonprofit organization attorney Bryan Stevenson started many years ago to give legal representation to poor prisoners wrongly convicted of crime. Stevenson's humble hero story.
The first time I visited death row, I wasn't expecting to meet somebody the same age as me, from a neighborhood just like ours. Could have been me, Mama.
But what you're doing is gonna make a lot of people upset.
Is now a major motion picture starring Michael B. Jordan as Stevenson and Jamie Foxx as one of his real-life clients on death row.
Your life is still meaningful, and I'm gonna do everything possible to keep them from taking it.
You don't know what you're into down here in Alabama when you're guilty from the moment you're born.
God, Mr. McMillan,
we done here.
Michael, when you first hear of Bryan Stevenson's story or read the book, what were your initial thoughts? Did you know immediately this was something you wanted to do?
Yeah, when I first heard about Bryan, I was actually embarrassed that I didn't know that much about him in the first place. But as soon as I got educated on him, you know, listening to his TED Talk, reading his memoir, meeting him, getting to know him as a person, and the work that he's doing, I immediately knew it was something that I needed to be involved with, trying to figure out, you know, how to get it done, what people would be involved, you know, how to develop it. So it was a no-brainer for me.
Did you handpick Jamie?
I mean, I felt like he was the only person I saw for it, you know. He's the only person that I felt would be able to give the character what it needed. Why are you doing this?
Why am I a lawyer?
No. Why is you a lawyer down here in Alabama taking these cases that ain't nobody gonna pay you for?
When I was a teenager, my grandfather was murdered over a black and white TV. We kept waiting for someone to show up to help. And that's when I realized that outside my community, nobody cared.
The book, as well as the film, called Just Mercy. I can't think of mercy or grace without thinking of God. How would you describe your work in terms of how it relates to being a work of God?
Yeah, I think it's very shaped by that. I mean, I am a person of faith. I have always had to believe things I haven't seen and have chosen to live by grace. And so for me, it's consistent with the work I've been trying to do. You know, I was drawn to helping people who were accused and incarcerated and condemned because I believe that we are all more than the worst thing we've ever done.
Walter Johnny D. McMillan is among Stevenson's first cases, an Alabama man wrongly convicted of murder and sentenced to death.
You the lawyer?
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you so much for driving all the way out here. Most lawyers barely make time to call.
His is also the story shared in the film.
We all need grace.
How did Walter McMillan's story and that case change you? That was very early in your career.
Yeah. Well, one of the things it did for me is it made me appreciate how when we falsely accuse someone and convict them and condemn them, we don't just do it to them, we do it to whole families, whole communities. It was a community injury.
You can buddy up with these white folks and make them laugh and try to make them like you, whatever that is, and you say yes sir, no ma'am, but when it's your turn, they ain't got to have no fingerprints, no evidence. And the only witness they got made the whole thing up. And none of that matter when all y'all think is I look like a man who could kill somebody.
But that's not what I think.
You play Walter McMillan. How easy or difficult was it for you to play the role of a man, black man, wrongly convicted of a crime and literally possibly being sentenced to die?
I don't think any of that is easy. I don't think the mindset of it, I don't think it's easy. I don't think it was easy for us to go on that set and be in those jail cells. You know, as black men, you know, that's the that's the place you never want to be. And I don't even visit people in jail. You know, I have a thing about seeing the perception of seeing my family members or people that I know in jail. So that was a tough day. But having someone like Michael B. Jordan, who's up for the task of doing something like Just Mercy, introducing us to Bryan Stevenson, I think is the golden part of it.
Last lawyer said there ain't nothing left to do.
There's always something that we can do. Whatever you did, your life is still meaningful. And I'm gonna do everything possible to keep them from taking it.
You've been at this now for more than 30 years. What sacrifice do you think, or what would you look back on your life and say is the greatest sacrifice you've had to make to do this?
You know, it's interesting. I don't really think of anything I've done as being a sacrifice. It's been hard, it's been challenging. You know, there are things, you know, that people looking from the outside might say I don't have, but I feel really privileged to do what I do. I feel like it's been a real gift.
With that gift, Stevenson works to share the stories of those forgotten on film and also here at the National Memorial for Peace and Justice, a museum he opened to remember those lynched in America after slavery. Just Mercy began playing in limited release on Christmas Day. It releases nationwide in America on January 10th. You'll want to be sure to check this one out. And there's still more from the film Just Mercy.
I think they're gonna set my execution soon.
We're sitting down. Your character really complex in all that he's gone through. What lessons did Herbert teach you? With actors Rob Morgan and Tim Blake Nelson.
To have that kind of compassion out towards people that are wrong, like putting him in this position, it was just, that moment was very impactful to me.
It's the new Superbook Bible app. It's packed with games, activities, and Superbook episodes that you can watch for free. Oh no! There's trivia, a fun daily devotional, and answers to your Bible questions. Plus, an easy-to-understand Bible the whole family will enjoy. You can even create your own Superbook character. Ta-da! It's the new Superbook Bible app. Free downloads on iTunes, Google Play, and Amazon.
From Washington, D.C., uncompromising stories, interviews, and analysis from veteran journalists David Brody.
Escalating fight.
Jenna Browder.
Chose his words carefully.
Ben Kennedy.
Plan to join him.
And Amber Strong.
For impeachment grows a little bit louder.
Bringing you the political news that matters.
We get out and tell the story of the progress that we're making in this country.
Watch Faith Nation, weeknights at 6 on the CBN News Channel.
We will move the American embassy to the eternal capital of the Jewish people, Jerusalem.
As the nations rage, you can stand with Israel.
History is being written, and I want to be a part of it.
Call 1-800-700-7000 and get to life.
This is our nature as a country.
Discover the untold story of how Israeli volunteers are changing the world.
We consider it our duty to reach out and help others around the world.
For a gift of $10 or more, you can own the acclaimed CBN documentary To Life.
To treat a human, no matter what he is, which religious he have, which color he is, this is what I'm doing.
Support Israel in their time of need. Get to Life, now available on DVD. Call 1-800-700-7000 or log on to cbn.com.
And I wish that other people throughout the world could see this side of Israel.
And welcome back to Studio 5. Thank you so much for staying with us. As you know, music fuels the production of this show each week. And this week, Kanye West marks a major milestone with his Sunday service and drops a new album as well. It's playing in my ear. God Can Do Anything. That is just a sample of what you will hear from the album in a performance recently done at VU Church in Miami. On that musical note, we are almost out of time for this episode of Studio 5, so let's look ahead and see what's coming up next week.
Ladies and gentlemen, Eddie Murphy!
Comedian Eddie Murphy returns to host the last live episode of Saturday Night Live for 2019. Nearly 40 years after he first graced the stage as part of the cast at just 19 years old.
Lord have mercy.
With a new Golden Globe nomination, the father of 10 is opening up about what's kept him grounded.
I've always been grounded spiritually, and I believe in God and I believe in prayer.
He's talking about his faith and his life and gracing magazine covers to share his latest works.
I pray all the time, I pray all the time, and you don't have to get down on your knees and pray, you can pray wherever. You know what I found? A lot of people in show business that get really successful at an early age, a lot of them go through a lot of stuff and have issues and drug problems and all these, are self-destructive. And I never had that because I was grounded spiritually.
Certainly hope you'll join us for that story and so much more come next week. As for the final word for this edition of Studio 5, we thought we'd give it to two more cast members from the film Just Mercy. Here's a look at our conversation with Tim Blake Nelson and Rob Morgan. The name of the film is Just Mercy, and we hear Brian Stevenson say we can all use some mercy. For you both, when was the last time mercy showed up for you?
Mercy shows up for me, I think, on a daily basis in very small ways. It's never shown up with the significance that is depicted in this movie. But every time one of my kids or my wife forgives me for, even in spite of my best efforts, maybe not doing the best job as a husband or father in the little picadillos during the day, I consider that merciful. You got to be treated like a human being, and that's mercy because we're all flawed.
Yeah, man, my life, being able to get up every day by the grace of God, that's the mercy I get, I'm just blessed to be here.
Gentlemen, that is indeed a great final word for this edition of Studio 5 and this look at uplifting entertainment. Until next time, make time to uplift someone around you, and then come on back and see where Studio 5 takes you next week. Again, Happy New Year. Bye-bye, everybody.